Now, Francesco Rocca is the president of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and he joins us now live from Rome. Thanks so much for joining us, Francesco. Good to see you. You were here in Istanbul just last month. Now, last time we spoke about refugees, and this time I want to speak to you about the sensitive subject, the children of Daesh terrorists. President Erdogan has recently said that when Turkey found Turkish citizens in Syria that joined Daesh, Turkey received them back with their wives and their children. And he says he judged to see, well, Turkey judged to see if they were involved in terror, they're rehabilitating their kids to help them get over the trauma they went through. So my question is, if Turkey can do this, why can't Europe do this?
But it's not only Europe. This is it should be mandatory for all the countries. We know, just as an example, that in Halol there are more than 60 different nationalities, and there are women and children. And when it comes about talking about children, they are victims of war, victims of the conflict. You cannot consider them as author of a crimes or something. So it is moral imperative for any country to protect their own citizens. I am talking about the most vulnerables.
And it is interesting because I just want to point out the other side. You know, some countries say no, because what if, for example, the mother is radicalized? Because, you know, we cannot separate children from their mothers. And what if something happens when that mother and those children are sent back?
Look, if there are someone is responsible of a crime or is convicted for a crime, he must pay the price of what he or she did. And this is one aspect. But if there are not evidences of a crime, I think it is something that is not negotiable. The country must take back and must work for inclusion and to work on this. So here it's like a social punishment, which is legally unacceptable. This is what we are working for. And look, I'm not undermining or under-evaluating the risk for security. This is something that the countries must protect, but it is not with a so-called generic punishment that they will find a solution for the security.
And Francesco, what happens if these children stay in Syria?
For me, just as an example, in Al-Hol, if you look at the situation in the camp, they only risk to be radicalized and to grow up with a different set of values, the values of violence, of radicalism. That is something that are not acceptable in our society. I think it's really important to protect the children, but also to protect the society, is to invest and protect them, not to let them live in such a dire situation like they are living in these camps now.
And Francesco, I want to put to you a question. President Erdogan said earlier today that more than 7,000 Daesh fighters have been sent back to their home countries by Turkey. How are these people being rehabilitated? And they're from Africa, Afghanistan, many other places. What are these countries doing to help?
For me, I think that the jail system should be a system that must rehabilitate. So this should be the focus of the jail system, and this is another order of question, because we started talking about the right to be repatriated or not, which is something extremely important. Then when it comes to the punishment to those who committed crimes or war crimes, this is I think that it's so evident that the country must take their own responsibilities receiving them in their own jails. We are talking about nothing. It's like, you know, when it comes it comes what we discussed even last time about externalize the border, even about the punishment, externalize the punishment, which is something that sounds really bad to me.
Francesco, very strong words and a very sensitive subject indeed. It's really great to speak to you again here on TRT World. Thanks so much for your thoughts and making time for us here on the News Hour. Thank you.